Hello and welcome back, guys. We are now looking at the shadow scenario, and we're going to do it in reverse order. I'll start with the final boss, then we're going to go into the second boss and the first boss. Okay, so without further ado, we've got the demonic beast. It's this lovely chappy over here. He's the final boss in the shadow scenario. So when you arrive at hex 24 in the shadow scenario, you will be teleported to this map because it's a zoomed in version of that hex. Okay, here is the acrylic of the boss. Oh yeah, I've already showed you these, but just in case you're tuning into the shadow one only. Yeah, and here. I'm just lying them flat on my camera so you can see them, because if I stand them all up, you can't really see much. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of the maps here in the shadow scenario as well, to give you guys an idea of the variety of what's to come when your pledges finally get fulfilled. So, without looking at the map first, let's go to the boss. Let's find out what the mechanics this boss has got. So we've got 99 health and 9 defense. So he's got a good amount of defense and a good chunk of health. But remember, these boards are set for 3 heroes. Okay, if you're playing with 1 or 2, you'll adjust the mode, and then you'd come and check out the sheet over here. This is the reference sheet for that particular boss, and if you're in solo mode, you can see there they start at 49 health. Okay, so obviously it will scale down based on your player count. So this boss here has got an ability here called Necrotic Eggs. Now, if anyone has seen our Beastmaster hero, this is very similar to the Beastmaster hero. So, in short, I can read it out, but I'm just going to show you what it does. At the beginning of the demonic beast's turn, these necrotic eggs are going to start summoning at random on an enemy's ability tab. And the ability tab is this little golden bar over here. So it's a gold card, goes on the gold bar there. All right. So, if you're not familiar with the Beastmaster, you'll already learn his hero ability here now. So, these necrotic eggs at random are going to go on a player's ability tab. So, you can decide however you like for the randomness. If it was 3 players, I would just do my usual. 1 or 2 is the first player, 3 or 4 is the second player, 5 or 6. So, we'd roll this, we'd find out where the egg's going. Okay. Then when they take the egg, it goes on their ability tab of the enemy. Sorry, not the boss, but the enemy. And then you roll a die, and it's got a 4, and it goes on top there. Now, basically what that's telling us is that this egg is going to hatch in 4 turns, okay? So the enemy, when this hatches, is not going to have a good time. We'll get to the necrotic spawns in a moment. But going back to the Beastmaster, his hero ability is the same, but rhinos get summoned to the battlefield for him. So this boss is putting them on the enemy, whereas for the Beastmaster, he gets the rhinos, they enter the battlefield with him. So it's a really cool hero ability. So that's the necrotic eggs, but that's going to happen once per turn. So each time the boss gets a turn, these are going to start going. And yes, heroes can have multiple. Okay, so there could be another one there on round 2. We'd roll a die. Oh, look at that. I've got another 4. So that one enemy might have 2 of these eggs as well, okay? This boss, unlike most bosses, does have lots of different phases here, but they're very simple. Effectively, when these eggs hatch, he gets more powerful. So in the first phase, when an egg hatches, he gets 2 agility for 3 turns. In this phase here, so which is basically just HP thresholds, he gets strength for 3 turns. He gets defense for 3 turns. And then enemies receive damage and negative defense debuffs. Okay. And then this one, whenever the eggs hatch, he gains 6 health as well. But remember, sorry, this is only 2 existing players would know. This new players wouldn't. So let me sort of rehash that actually. Each one of these abilities, when let's say the boss is at 25 health, we would be in the final phase because all of these would be active. All of them would be active. So that means anytime an egg hatches, the boss is going to get 2 agility, 2 strength, 2 defense. The enemies are going to get 4 damage, and then he's going to heal for 6 every single time an egg hatches. Okay? So that's the boss abilities there in a nutshell. Obviously, he's got his spells to cast and whatnot. Then we're going to have a look at this map here. For those of you that are familiar with World of Warcraft, this bit mechanic here was inspired by me with like the Onyxia raid in phase 2, where she flies up into the sky and burns the ground. And then we've got these were inspired, funnily enough, by the Aliens movie. So this boss is kind of Aliens mixed with Onyxia from World of Warcraft. And I forgot to mention actually what these do when they hatch. Let's have a quick look. So when they hatch, they'll be on an enemy's ability tab, these little necrotic spawns. It tells us here that their enemies are the heroes. Their enemies are not, because normally when you have a card on your ability tab, it's your ally. If you're the huntress, it would be your pet. If you're the beastmaster, all your rhinos would go there. This text here basically says that when this card is on your ability tab, it is your enemy. So that said, each turn, hell spawn, they deal 2 damage to the host. Aliens with the little suckers on the face, and they're sucking the life out of the host. So we've got Hellspawn, so they deal damage to their host. And then this ability here, Necrotic Tissue, this allows them to cast attack spells from hero boards and spell mastery board who you are attached to. Okay, so they're going to be placing dice on your board. They're going to stop you using your spells. They're going to be attacking you with your own spells. They'll be attacking your allies with your spells. So it's a really fun mechanic. When they hatch, you can kill them. They've got 9 defense and only 6 health. So if you've got a big AoE attack, you can take out a few spawns at once. Now let's look at the combat map here then. So this ability up here says when the round tracking dice reaches I think is it an even or odd? Round tracking dice, when it gets to an even number, so on round 2, 4 and 6, the boss flies up into the sky. It gets the flying condition for 1 turn. Flying means that they can't use any melee attacks. So if this was your board, your ranged melee attacks would do nothing now. You can only target an enemy if they're flying with your ranged attacks. Okay. And then it also says as well that when this ability is triggered, the demonic beast ignites the battlefield. So you see here that we've got 3 columns of hexes. So let's say this is the exact setup. We've got the Shadow Knight there, the Clairvoyant there, and the boss over here. At the beginning of the round, if it goes to the next round, so obviously it starts on round 1, this dice goes up to round 2. The boss will scorch these hexes. So this hex is what it's on. This whole column will get scorched. This column here will get scorched, and this column here will get scorched. All 3 columns, and they would just receive burn. You don't place it on the map or anything. It's simply if you're stood in there on the beginning of an old round, this ability triggers and you burn all those hexes as well. Okay, so that's a nice mechanic because again, you can work out ahead of time what round it is. If it's going to round 3, you don't have to worry about that ability. You might be able to get in a bit closer to the boss, but on round 3, round 4's coming next, where that ability is going to trigger again. You probably don't want to get burned, so you're going to, because this boss has spells here to synergize with the burn as well. There's lots of synergies, so you're probably going to want to make sure you're moving out. Okay, that's the boss mechanics on the map. Then we've got the key down here. So we've got the egg nests. Can you see here on the artwork, there's a little egg nest. There's some little eggs here, and they look a little bit like these. It tells us when a hero gets to an egg nest, they can take 1 for the team. What we mean by that is, let's say I'm playing the Shadow Knight and I've got an egg on my ability tab and it's got a dice on it for 5. When I get to an egg nest, I can take 1 for the team. I can reduce the value of that dice from 5 to 4. That is bad for me, the Shadow Knight, because that egg's going to spawn and hatch faster for me. But in doing so, it increases the value of all other eggs by 1 for your allies. I think it was all, let me just double check. Yeah, for all the other eggs. So these egg nests are really nice, especially if you've got loads of eggs all at low values. you might think, right, I'm just going to hatch my egg and give you guys another round of your eggs not hatching. And then last but not least, we've got this one green hex over here, and this is the necrotic altar. So this says during the maintenance upkeep, which is basically when this dice up here changes value every round, that the altar pulls every single hero one hex towards it every round. And if a hero ever lands on it, the altar basically summons them. If they go to this hex over here, it tells us here that if a hero player starts their turn on this hex, that all dice on these necrotic eggs basically are removed and they hatch instantly. So you need to stay away from that, otherwise all these eggs, all these necrotic spawns will be hatching. Okay, and then of course don't forget, as you're playing, moving around on this map as well, you've got all your tokens that might be popping up. If you're playing a light mage, you'll be popping these around, you know, like this, and pushing and pulling enemies into these as well. And when you've got certain things like this on the map where you keep getting pulled towards it, you have to watch out for some of these tokens on the map, because they might accidentally pull you into the firing range, so to speak. Okay, awesome. I'm happy with that, guys. We got the reference sheet over here as well. It does the usual. It's got all the modifications. It's got a little FAQ here. It tells you some commonly used conditions. You may have seen by now that we do have quite a few tokens in our token tray. I think there's something like 28 or 30 conditions, but we've intentionally designed the game so that you don't have to learn it, or it's not information overload. You don't have to learn it all in one go. Each of our bosses only do a couple of status effects. It's the same for our heroes. Our heroes on average will only use 4 to 6 at most. So if you're playing the Blood Mage, you'll learn the Blood Mage related ones, the Darkness, the Feared, the Burns, the Bleeds. But then if you're playing like a Cleric, you'll learn the Clerics. And the more you play the game, the more different heroes that you play with, over time, you would learn them all anyway. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, guys. We'll be back in a moment with the next boss.